This conference will now be recorded.
Hi then, welcome to number 4 of Behind the Mask, and I'm delighted to be joined with Anthony Pender, former chairman of the BII and co-founder of Yummy Pubs. How are we doing, Anthony?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Excuse the attire. Normally I'm a bit smarter. I'm dressed today because I'm playing builder's mate and general labourer dog's body. And as you can see from the background, I'm in a very closed pub, but a very busy pub.
You're fully excused, and yeah, I suppose in turn, I don't normally wear a moustache, and as I said to you before, Steve, just freaking myself out every time I catch a glimpse of myself. But no, thank you so much for joining me. Obviously, times within the industry are what they are. I mentioned that you chaired the BII in years gone by. What are your thoughts in regards to what the BII, collaboratively with the UKH and BBPA, are doing for the benefit of hospitality at the moment and the hospitality brand as a whole?
It's a really easy one. Phenomenal work, I think, across the board, collaboratively, and each as individual organisations and operators as well, I've got to say. I think our industry's never been regarded in such high stead. I think that comes down to how our staff conducted themselves the few weeks on the run up to lockdown, where they just all smiled, kept happy faces, even though this closure was at the time looming, say the beginning of March, and how they were just ever professional with the reopening in July and Eat Out to help out. And I think a great industry image by all the workers in it, 3.2 million people work in it. But at the top of that, we needed a voice. And I think the work both behind the closed doors of Power and Parliament, those thick oak doors, they've done a great job, but also digitally and through the media. I don't think I've ever seen so much of hospitality in the media and online. Yeah. And we're not just talking about internal, inward-facing media here. We're talking national spreads, national news channels. I mean, the requests that even us as a company had to be on Channel 4 News, ITV, which we gladly did to kind of play our small part, were just amazing, because actually now we're seen as a professional industry. And I think if there's a positive to come out of the negative situation, it's that we're held in high stead. People know how important and how much they miss hospitality now. And those organisations were key to it, yeah, and the individuals in them.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, the hospitality in the spotlight is a good thing. I think the career of choice and the way that we're viewed. I mean, there's no question, to pick up on your last point there, Anthony, that the customers are demanding hospitality more than ever, which isn't a great thing. And actually, customer behaviour is a little bit different as well, which is which is good to see, and potentially a little bit kinder. You guys,
99.5% have been phenomenal. Yeah, I think even Eat Out to help out, we had concerns, and rightly so, about some of the clients coming in during that time, but the majority were just overwhelmingly complimentary to guys, and you just saw things like gratuity and stuff go through the roof, because I think people realised the challenges that our teams had. And yeah, I can't stress enough to turn up to work after all of that and still have a smile on your face and make other people's lives better. Yeah. It's an incredible thing to do.
And to be appreciated for that is absolutely amazing, and rightly so. So you guys run businesses in and out of London. What have you seen, Anthony, in regards to what's the difference in regards to your workforce in those different areas?
Not too dissimilar, actually. I think apart from the work rate coming out of it, because I think the guys in London have had to slog it to over-deliver just to kind of compensate for the lack of business. Mm-hmm. But the guys in the country pubs have sweated, because it has been busy, and we've done some great investments during the first lockdown, which have helped grow the business. But again, the guys have had to deliver record weeks through July and August to achieve what they achieved. And actually, there's similarities between them as individuals. Obviously, everyone's an individual, but the challenge is very much the same. I think the big thing in London I found, though, that I would kind of note was the amount of our guys who are kind of in shared accommodation, where they've got no living room, no dining room in their houses, because everything's literally been turned by the landlord into a room to rent. And these guys were locked up with no gardens, no living space. And I'm sure we'll chat later about the volunteering work we did, but the guys, it was as good for their mental health to get out and volunteer and do stuff for the community as it was for the charities and communities themselves. It was a two-way thing. Our guys, that they were so keen to get out and help, because I think it helped them. It gave them purpose. Yeah. And we don't want them trapped in their small rooms. It's tantamount to being in prison at some points for them. And again, their resilience was incredible.
Yeah, I think well, and for you guys, leading that, I think it was quite inspirational for the industry, and how Yummy really stepped up. And for those reasons, I think hats off. And seriously, I think that's great. So 2020, how how you look and approach your role regarding people engagement? Has anything changed there? I mean, you've alluded to a couple of things.
Yeah, I think number one at the outset, I think we've always had a great people culture, and I believe that all the way through. It's been challenging at times, but we've had some adversities in the past. We've had floods and fires in our business, which have put the whole business under stress, because our flagship site burnt down 2 years ago. And we as owners of the business have had to deal with that, but so have the team. And I think there was some ingrained tenacity in the business, and just kind of a chin up, we're going to get on with this, that kind of, people call it a Dunkirk spirit. We kind of had that ingrained into our business already, because we've been through these challenges. What we did this time, though, was we were looking at the whole business going, and come the end of February, well before lockdown, the numbers in London were just shocking. We were kind of double-digit decline, and we were looking down the barrel of right, we won't be able to run this business much beyond the middle of March. What can we do? And we started communicating via the platform Yapster. We took that on board thanks to Rob there, and we just absolutely started transparently communicating the challenge. And we had to openly, honestly say, look, we think we've got 8 weeks left where we can pay you guys. The business will go under. We won't be able to pay all our bills, but the first thing we're going to do is pay you. And we just have to work as long as we can to keep it going. But if it doesn't, this is what's going to happen. Here's the assurance. And obviously on the 21st, we got the announcement of furlough. We were able to kind of communicate that to the team quite emotionally, actually, because that was them knowing that they were safe. But also it was step one on a long journey for making the business safe, and it was a big step. And we had to pay all our staff in advance when we didn't have the money. So as directors, we weren't paid. A lot of very understandable suppliers we spoke to didn't get paid on time. But it meant we paid our staff on time, waited for furlough to come in, and it was phenomenal. But the goodwill and the two-way communication we got from the team, we had team members offering to give the money back to us so the business could carry on, or so that we could pay ourselves as director a bit of money. Yeah. And you don't, as an individual, as me as a human being, you don't forget that lightly when people are willing to do that for you. There's that analogy of people kind of in the trenches with you. It felt like that. And that communication has stayed now with us all the way through. So not just for lockdown 2, but all the way through lockdown, the volunteering, the communication, even now our menus, our food and drink menus have never been better, because people are sharing ideas across sites, across individuals. And it's all because of that kind of, we're in this together, how are we going to get ourselves out of it? And I honestly believe, because of that communication and culture, we're actually going to come out of COVID better than we went into it as a business.
It's refreshing to hear you say that. I get it on the people side. I love that you also looked after your people, and to hear them, as I understand as well.
It's 2 ways. There's no doubt about it. They looked after us as well, and I won't forget that.
Yeah. It's amazing. Quite inspirational to hear as well, and it's good to hear that tone and that approach. So what are your thoughts in regards to how you're planning for the future? I know we had a brief chat before, and how this has changed in recent times.
Yeah, it's quite unique, actually. We're very lucky that we've got a freehold site that we completed on 2 years ago. It was under threat from the fire at the Somerstown, the deal, but we've gone through, the bank showed a lot of faith in us. Yeah. And we got that deal, and it meant that we had this country pub which had amazing outside space, but that was very underinvested. And we took the approach that when we were in lockdown, and excuse the language, we called it shit or bust. And it's like, we are going to aggressively invest in our sites so that we can, number one, trade ourselves out of this, but number two, end up with that better business. So we've invested heavily in our outside space. We've invested heavily in IT for order at table, and everything we do for COVID as a solution, and the outside space being key with the rule of 6 and the additional heating, the retractable roofs, increased covers. We did it, everything we did for COVID and to kind of secure our current trade, but in the belief, and it had to be planned out, that after COVID we could continue to grow the business and the numbers would improve. These were long-term investments. So I know, and it's no criticism of people that they put marquees up and everything. We've put an oak pergola up with wisteria, meters and meters of wisteria, 168 covers, which is 78 additional covers what we had before, a ton of heating, and a massive retractable roof next to a 26-acre lake. That cost 20 times what a marquee would have cost, but we've made the decision, we've taken the risk because we believe, you know what, there will be a vaccine, and thank God there is. It looks like there's going to be, but back in April when we started this, we didn't know that, but we believed there was going to be a way out of this, and everything we spend money on, we're going to make sure that it carries on earning us money in 5 years. And I think this consumer, through this kind of COVID, eating outside is safer. I think they're ready for kind of like that Danish and Scandinavian approach to kind of winter al fresco. It's not going to go away now. I think it's part of our ingrained culture. People are going to sit outside with their coats on, hot water bottles, mulled cider, and they're going to sit outside through the winter now. So we're well placed for that change in consumer behaviour, and it's phenomenal actually. You see adversity, you see taking kind of advantage of the adversity to get better, and I think our industry as a whole does that very well, and I think we've absolutely done that this time. Now, we've taken a massive risk financially, but I still believe sitting here, even in a second lockdown, it was the right decision to make.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, and ballsy, but again, I love that.
Or stupid.
Well, when the going gets tough, and I use this expression, coming out of this fitter, faster, stronger. Talk to any of my team, I never stop saying it, but that's another conversation. Listen, that's been really insightful, Anthony. Just want to thank you so much for your time today, and we'll catch up soon.
No, it's an absolute pleasure to regale. Thank you.